This is a person who is of age, but has now changed their face, added the little freckles, and to this. This looks like a 7-year-old or something like that. Why is this okay? All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's party. So you guys are definitely aware of the website that has an O and then an F, and is for people to show themselves everywhere. And we know that, for a long time, it's been this quick, easy money for women, and that it usually ends up in, one, not making as much money as they think, and then two, having pictures and content out there forever. Parents finding out, jobs finding out, all this kind of stuff. And now we're getting to the age where their kids are going to find out. So Sydney Watson, a great video on this about the regret of using OF. So let's check it out.
Now, over the last little while, a podcast called Whatever keeps showing up on all of my social media feeds. And every video I have watched without fail has some young 20-something woman defending her OnlyFans account. In fact, one clip from about a month ago was particularly interesting to me. To begin, one of the girls explains that she's making a lot of money on OnlyFans.
A lot of money. Okay.
This may be a personal question, but were you affluent before OnlyFans?
No. And so I think that for me was like OnlyFans. I was like, oh, I'll do this on the side. Like, it'll just be extra money. A lot of girls in Scottsdale do it.
And that right there is the seed that gets planted in so many women's minds. Oh, it's no big deal. I'll just do it on the side. It's just a little bit of extra money. And that's how you get sucked in.
It's kind of the norm out here in the West.
The norm, it may be a little bit more accepted, but the norm, come on.
I'm from like the middle of nowhere where that's not a thing. And so I just think since it's so normal, I just based it as like, oh, it's just a side hustle. Yeah. And then it kind of turned in from a side hustle to like, okay, wow, I'm making a lot of money.
Again, I don't know what a lot of money is, but notice how there's no thought. There's no comment on, I'm going to do this and I'm not worried about my future. I'm not worried about this getting out. I'm not worried about, because anything. It's just like, oh, well, sounds like a good idea. I guess money. Okay.
Another girl chimes in and adds that whether or not a woman's future children will be embarrassed by her OnlyFans images depends entirely upon where she lives.
If you raise your kid in LA, there are so many sex workers here that I don't think that, specifically one of ours necessarily is going to be the talk of the town.
I mean, I guess that's not incorrect. But there is no shot that if you are, of any notoriety on any of these sites, and you have a son or daughter that goes to school, those pictures and videos and whatever else you're doing will be found. And maybe you won't be the talk of the town, but you sure will be the laughingstock of the school.
When there's so many plus years now going on between now and then.
Then there is this odd part where the women assert it's easy to have not safe for work photos taken off the internet.
So let me ask you a question. So if you're so against it, I'm just curious, why wouldn't you delete your OnlyFans if you...
So I think this girl in the hat has, she did OF before and then she stopped, and that's what they're asking about. If you're so against it, why don't you take your pictures down?
I've already spoken about this. I was big enough to where my photography is going to be out there.
You can get it taken down very easily.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
And so what she's saying is that her account got so big, which is, what you want if you're going into this line of work, that her account got so big that the images and content was just shared so much that you might be able to take it down from here. And especially, I believe this is a streamer who is associated with Destiny. So everybody in the Destiny community and any other community that knows about her, those pictures that might be taken down off of OF are going to show up on P-Hub. Then they're going to show up on whatever else site. There's a reason they say the internet is forever.
100% you can.
You can.
Yes, you can.
I was just curious why you can't. I was just curious. I know. Okay, listen. You guys have been doing this for 6 months to.
I also have lawyers that literally tell like you just pay for it and it gets taken.
Ma'am, where do you think the phrase "the internet is forever" comes from? Ah, the internet generation don't even understand the internet. I just want to discriminate against Gen Z. This clip is only 6 minutes, but a lot is said, and there's a lot to unpack. Which we will do. But this isn't the only thing I've seen recently in relation to this topic. One of the highest earning OnlyFans models, called Black China, recently announced she had deleted her account, had removed her breast implants, taken out her fillers, and was embracing Christianity.
I'm sure she's so Christian. She's probably the most Christian girl you ever did see. If you're a little skeptical about that, you will definitely find a home at the Indian Jesus Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7 we are in there hanging out. And after every single live stream, we go in there for an after party where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, but you're actually on screen. You can cam up if you want to, you don't have to, but it is a great time. Come and join us.
It's okay if you don't know who that is. I didn't either until Instagram forced me to know.
Black
Another
China.
OnlyFans model called Diana Dietz took her own life a few months back. We actually discussed her once before on this channel. She was accused of fan of the playground baiting for editing her face to appear extremely young and childlike.
That's a whole other aspect of this world where now with the face filters that, is bad enough that people are using on Instagram Reels and TikTok and stuff. But now you can age yourself down to look like a minor and put content that is not appropriate for minors. That's a whole other bucket, but just be aware that's going on. And people are paying.
My point is, this topic is everywhere, and women will comfortably sit on the internet or on podcasts and shows telling you how easy and breezy it is to have an OnlyFans account, when the reality is a lot darker. So that's what we're going to talk about today, my Hell Gondola Voyagers, the not-so-lovely world of OnlyFans. There is, of course, a lot to this topic, but I think it's important to cut through some of the noise and outline precisely why we are in the age of OnlyFans regret, and it's only going to get worse. But in early 2020, a post by a woman apparently named Servani went viral. She tweeted that because of OnlyFans, she'd been able to buy her dream home. With a little digging, it turned out that Servani had made her OnlyFans account only a month before, in March. By April, she was claiming she'd made enough to purchase a whole house. This tweet went viral at the beginning of the pandemic. People were experiencing mass lockdowns, restrictions, and loss of income.
And not going outside, and therefore more willing to shell out money for your pictures.
In fact, before the pandemic, most people likely hadn't ever heard of OnlyFans before, and hadn't even contemplated selling intimate images online. While OnlyFans was founded in 2016, this was the period of time that the platform started to balloon. From March to April of 2020, around the same time that Servani was making her posts, the site grew by 75%.
75% growth. Wow. I mean, I guess that's normalized. I mean, a 75% growth, that is in fact normalized. So when they say it's normalized, they normalized it.
OnlyFans CEO Tim Stokely said that they were seeing about 200,000 new users every 24 hours, 7,000 to 8,000 of which were signing up as creators. I feel like there's a joke to be made here about how the government created sex workers. something, we're all getting fucked. So we have to assume that seeing a tweet like Servani's only convinced people further that OnlyFans was a viable way to make a stack of cash fast.
It's not.
This message was only driven home harder by major celebrities. In April 2020, the site got a shout out from Beyonce in a remix of the song Savage, which I will never listen to. By August, actress Bella Thorne had made an account. Shortly after announcing, she reportedly crashed the site from the number of people attempting to sign up.
And so this was I don't know if you guys paid attention to this when it happened, but this was a big deal because the site was mainly non-professional people who didn't have a following, maybe an Instagram following, but in terms of the wider pop culture. And then you had someone like Bella Thorne and a lot of other people of her ilk going onto the platform, and now that messes with the ecosystem. So now if you're just a random person, it's the same thing on YouTube. If you're Mr. Beast and you put out a video, it doesn't really have to do much. You don't have to have a fantastic thumbnail, and you don't have to, but you're Mr. Beast, so it's going to work. where here I am slaving away all week, and I just get a few likes. Just please like the video, please. I promise I'll do it for you. But no, I'm serious that this is a huge thing, that while it put this idea on the map for a lot of women, it also created the circumstances that it wouldn't work for those same women.
Dr. Philchild, bad baby, the one who says, cash me outside.
outside. How about that?
She joined a year later in 2021 on the day she turned 18. She reportedly made $1 million in 24 hours after her account went live.
That's a lot of dudes waiting for somebody to turn 18.
Haram!
Which is weird. That is weird. I will never not think that's weird.
Haram!
Sorry. Since then, countless celebrities and internet personalities have joined OnlyFans. It actually appears to be remarkably common to do so. And yes, those of you who are sticklers for accuracy, OnlyFans is not only not safe for work content, you can put other things on the site, like baking.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
However, the OnlyFans stars gaining the most attention are women who make an eye-watering amount of money on the site posting nudies.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine that other ladies
Obviously.
wouldn't look at this and think, hey, that could be me. And why wouldn't they? Apparently, this OnlyFans luck isn't exclusive to celebrities. It can happen to anyone.
And there's already a delusion among the average modern woman, not all, but the average modern woman, that they are way more attractive than they actually are. So it's kind of funny that we haven't seen a recalibration in how women look at each other and look at their own attractiveness when, you know, she thinks she's a 10, she goes on OF and doesn't quite work the way she thought.
Except, and unfortunately, in the vast majority of cases, it doesn't play out like that. Remember our friend Servani's viral tweet? Well, her OnlyFans exit message was posted less than a year later.
So she was on for 1 month and she bought a house. And then 11 months later, she was done. What did she say?
She said that she took her OnlyFans money and started a business. And
Okay.
thus, her OnlyFans account was no more.
Okay.
In the photo she posted, you can see the amount she made was just under $78,000.
I mean, that's not bad. $78K for the year for showing your coochie and your booty hole. I'm not mad at it. But we're talking about regret here. We're talking about regret.
Which, like, I don't know, does not seem anywhere near enough to buy a house and start a business.
Oh, definitely true. I mean, that's not enough money to lose the innocence of your own body. I'm just saying the physical labor that went into it.
Unless the business is basically you selling naked photos of yourself on the internet. Too soon. Got it. Now, $78,000 is certainly a decent sum of money, but it isn't the hundreds of thousands most people would assume this woman made. And you're probably wondering why I bring this up. It's because OnlyFans feels like something akin to a pyramid scheme. And posts like Sarvani's, which very well could have been paid for by the company itself, only serve to get women in the door with the promise of making their own boatload of cash.
So what she's saying is that it's possible, maybe even likely, that OF actually paid her that money in that time so that she could make that post or fake that post or something along those lines to get other women to think, oh, you know, that could be me. And it's probably not going to be.
In the years since, in the many articles we've seen with similar claims about young women buying luxury items because of OnlyFans, how many of these stories are actually true? How many of these women actually made bank? The problem is the platform doesn't actually function that way at all. For starters, the majority of OnlyFans creators are women, and the majority of content on the site is considered not safe for work. But rather than making hundreds of thousands of dollars, the average OnlyFans creator makes less than $180 per month. A pretty far cry from being enough to buy a house.
Bro, $180 a month?
What?
I mean, wow. I knew the numbers were bad.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
I didn't know it was that bad.
And when did I tell you?
And more than that, the top 1% of earners make 33% of all revenue earned on the site. and the top 10% earn almost 75% of all money made. So the reality is, when it all shakes out, you're not gonna Bella Thorne yourself out of poverty.
Spare change.
So this brings us around to the next part of our conversation. OnlyFans regret. Sex work, as this is often called, has become so normalized that nobody really seems to give any consideration to how it actually makes women feel. Despite what the whatever podcast girls say, some women don't feel great. The internet is littered with stories from women indicating that OnlyFans has made their life incredibly challenging.
And is that any surprise? Is that any surprise? Like I said, when the girl on whatever was talking about it, she had no concept of thinking about the future. It was just like, okay, this is here, this is acceptable to other people, and this will give me money. End of thought. End of thought. So is it any surprise that they'll all, not all, but so many of them will turn around and have stories of OF regrets?
Whether that's difficulty in relationships, their partners.
I'm sick. I wish I never did OF. This ish is going to follow me till I die.
Leaving them, dealing with stalkers, knowing that this will follow them forever. These stories aren't very hard to find, and they're almost always negative. But what about the celebrities that we hear so much about? The ones who've done exceptionally well on the site. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Black China and Diana Dietz, both of whom experienced massive amounts of success on the platform, but both went on to handle that and their feelings towards their accounts in totally different ways. Black China, whose name is Angela White, decided to delete.
If you know I am laughing, you know I am laughing. If you know, you know.
Her account in early 2023 after making it in 2020. Are you seeing a pattern here? In an interview, she said, "I don't do OnlyFans anymore. I don't do it anymore at all. I'm just changing everything about me. It's a dead end. All that stuff is a dead end, and I know I'm worth more than that." Bingo. Since she has removed her breast implants, other body and face modifications, gotten a demonic tattoo removed, and has since reinvested in religion. In another interview, White said that God would not want her to do OnlyFans, and it is degrading.
Now, even as an atheist, that value of somebody who cares about you, doesn't want you to be doing this, is a value that I think needs to be present in even those who are not religious. And this is stuff we talk about a lot on the live show every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come and hang out. But this is something we talk about all the time. Now, it's good that she has that there is some moral hierarchy for her to fall into. The larger question is, does it need to be a specific religion? Would you have fallen into this if you had thought that the world is either of religious people and non-religious people? Would you maybe have never gone down this road despite not being religious if there was a moral hierarchy that would have shown you the future that you are now living? If you have more questions about what I am talking about, you don't get it, comment your thoughts below. I'm happy to have a conversation. And like I said, come check out the live show. We get in depth on all of this stuff.
Her story is a reasonably positive one. Diana Dietz, on the other hand, is much less so. I've actually made a video discussing Dietz on this channel before. She would edit her face to appear considerably younger while still showing her adult figure in the usual poses. She joined OnlyFans sometime in 2019 or 2020 and started morphing her images as a way to both protect her real identity and put her digital art skills to work.
Digital art skills to work. Yeah, right. You were trying to find a niche, and that niche being PDF files. And you found them.
In a short space of time, she grew from 700,000 followers on Instagram to over 3 million. And soon she amassed over...
look at this. Look at this. This is a person who is of age, but has now changed their face, added the little freckles, and to this looks like a 7-year-old or 7, something like that. Why is this okay? Like, I don't mean why, it's definitely not okay. But I mean, why is this allowed? Why is this allowed?
10,000 paying subscribers on
10,000.
OnlyFans, paying approximately $10 a month.
Oh my God.
In October 2020, some people began posting on Reddit about how Dietz had certainly and clearly used digital editing to restyle her face to look prepubescent.
Yeah, that's not the scandal. The scandal isn't the fact that she used face tuning. The scandal is what she is using the face tuning to do.
This is something that she categorically denied in later interviews, but come on. Look at this. Come on. In early 2021, popular TikToker Becca Day posted a video eviscerating Dietz for modifying her features to look like a young teenager and accusing her of pandering to fans of the playground. A short time later,
fans of the playground. Again, if you didn't understand, PDF files.
Later, in February 2023, Dietz took her own life after falling into a deep depression related to her OnlyFans content. Friends say the model had been depressed over the backlash and criticism some of her photos triggered, particularly those saying that she was baiting fans of the playground.
And I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible. We don't want anybody to be taking their own life, obviously. But this is the type of thing that you have to take into account when you are making life decisions. And yes, putting your body online is a life decision. It's scary that I need to say that. But in case you didn't know, that is, in fact, a life decision.
Interestingly, depressingly, when I was looking into this topic, an anti-prawn advocate called Kate Oseen accused Dietz of grooming and catfishing underage women on social media as part of a scheme to get them to join OnlyFans. And it comes full circle. Pyramid-like scheme. Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? Something else that I think is worth noting is that OnlyFans, as a general rule, takes 20% of all subscriptions, meaning that in Dietz's case, OnlyFans was taking $2 per subscriber. So if we are to run on the assumption that Dietz was actually fan of the playground baiting, that means that OnlyFans was actively profiting off of that. Now,
let's not gloss over that. The people at the site knew what was good. They not only allowed it, but they profited off it. Do with that what you will. Do with that what you will.
At the end of the day, it is up to the individual to assess the risks that come with doing things like this. Yes! And cam girls, whether people like it or not, have existed since the early days of the internet, so this entire enterprise was bound to grow. And of course, there is a lot more to this topic, but we are going to save that for another day. Overall, I want to highlight that OnlyFans cropped up at a very unique point in time, where not only did real-world conditions enable it to become part of public consciousness, but so did the particular discourse surrounding sex work and choice feminism and our ideas of what empowerment ought to look like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can go finish the rest of her video. Shout out to Sydney. Definitely brings a good perspective on this. And I don't think this is anything that we are unaware of. But again, these are things that we have to continually bring to the surface. There's so much going on in the world. There's so much going on in the world that if we don't continually refocus on the things that matter, we will simply forget. There's a million other things that are happening right now that you don't even think of because we're thinking about this. So we constantly have to remind ourselves. I don't know, guys. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lunch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Special shout out to you for making it to the end of the video. Put OF in the comments for our secret word to get a shout out in the next video. Until then, guys, we are out of here. Peace.